The shocking truth about why Joe was kicked out of his studio has been revealed. As I was on Spaces Live, I was hit with the news right in my face, and it is a severe disconnect from what Joe said on the pod. He was giving us different things. Oh, I was sleepwalking somewhere I shouldn't have been, and I sleepwalked naked. Then on the most recent pod, he said, I just don't want everybody to kind of be in a position where they're not comfortable because they're being documented and people are being, attacked and being monitored. I don't want them to live in a police state. The prison industrial complex is very problematic, blah, blah, blah. But now we see that there is multiple layers to this. And Joe has to go to court. Joe will never record in that studio again. He might live there. He might sleep there. He might own it. But this right here is the smoking gun. And I'm honestly thinking about going to the court, trying to see what happens, taking my little camcorder and just observing the situation. Maybe if they allow me to go in court, sit down and watch what's up. Shout out to this place in Jersey. It's right by the water, on the edge of the water. And I think this is very, very, very interesting. I'm going to see how the pod reacts to it. I know a lot of fans are going to do damage control on behalf of the pod. I, myself, am treating this with kid gloves because the accusation is that of lewdness. And then it says observed by others. So that means there's other moving pieces to this. And oh man, I really didn't think it would escalate to this level. I thought it was just something innocent, a funny story, very, very similar to the sleepwalking story Joe told about when he was in Miami and he went into Ian's bed and he hugged up on him or something like that because he thought that was a girl and whatnot. But this situation right here, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know how the people who don't rock with Joe will use it to play for their needs. Like, I wonder if Drake, if he's going to put this, if he's going to do something with this, because the way the pod had been kind of going at him for being a freaky boy, I wonder if other people will try to play this for being a freaky boy thing. And the court date is happening real soon, which is something that's very fascinating. It's something that I think we all have to monitor, and it's going to impact the pod. And I honestly think this whole situation is what's happening with Flip. Like, I think Flip is probably like, man, I don't know if I should be recording in that studio. There's a lot of stuff. Like, the cast has to shrink. Not that many people fit in the studio anymore. So I think this whole situation comes at a terrible time for the show, as they added a whole bunch of people to the pod. And now people can't be hanging out in the background like they did in that Jersey studio, right? I was just listening to the Wednesday. I was watching the Wednesday behind the scenes, and I saw that they told Imani don't come in because of whatever. And I think, yeah, he probably wouldn't come in for the regular show anyway. But I also think people just can't hang out in the background anymore. Like J1, Imani, and all of them used to just be watching the show in the back. But now with this limited space, it's going to be very tight. Joe is under a lot of pressure, and now you see all of the stresses happening. A court case. On top of that, members of the show aren't giving it up. They're just showing up. Melissa Ford, she has a great episode, then proceeds to be trashed the next few episodes. Ice, Ish, yeah, they are okay, but are they really interested in taking the show to the new levels that it needs to go to? Flip, up and down, though I do think Joe enjoys him more than we would like to think, and I do feel like Joe probably thinks Flip is more professional than he reveals on camera. So only time will tell. This is crazy stuff. And for me, Joe had kind of escaped into a new stratosphere of being perceived as a businessman, being perceived as someone who's transcended his past moves. Remember when Drake said that your next move can't escape your past moves? Well, now this move might be threatening the maneuvers he's been doing to escape the wife beater Joe, the persona of the problematic podcaster. And I think it couldn't have come at a worse time. 2025, the start of the new year, for this to be looming over you, and you also have to assume it's affecting his shorty Duop. She might be thinking like, oh, what was really going on here, Joe? And I think the story that now I'm confident in the source. A lot of people, when I made that video, they was like, Danny, man, you capping, you just making stuff up. That person was completely correct. That person deserves all the credit in the world. They knew exactly what they were talking about. And I think the fact that Joe went on his podcast and cleared up mean that we were hot on the trail. With that said, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. The top podcast in the space, and one of the top podcasts in the field in general, is facing some severe threats, court issues, unhappy co-host, finding a new place to record. But then again, this might make the show even better as controversy sells. All right, y'all, please subscribe to the Patreon. I've been adding new stuff on there. I started a new show called Stop Request Live. That's where I play the best tunes. I just did an 80s episode. I played some Doobie Brothers, some Bernard Wright, Who Do You Love, and a lot more. Follow me on Instagram. I just released some content there. It was kind of a murder facts themed podcast breakdown of episode 437. 30-second clip, nothing too crazy. And I think it's just the direction I want to take my content in 2025. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.